In near silence, the Russian landing craft moved steadily across the Black Sea, unaware that an explosive threat was riding just beneath the waves. It was June 24, 2025, and Ukraine was moments away from tearing another hole in Russia's Black Sea fleet. The vessel wasn't on high alert. It wasn't zigzagging or taking evasive routes, just a slow, shallow approach along the occupied coastline, likely packed with troops and supplies. But the sea was lying. Roughly 30 kilometers offshore, a dark shape skimmed just above the surface. No wake, no sound, just raw speed, locked on course. It was a Magura V5, Ukraine's now infamous unmanned surface drone armed with over 300 kilograms of explosive force and programmed for one job. Strike fast, strike hard, and don't come home. It tracked the target in real time using infrared sensors. The drone didn't just see the ship, it measured it. Range, bearing, impact angle, all calculated mid-run without even needing a human touch. At 0513, the final approach began. Then came the hit. A single impact ruptured the side of the landing craft. Seconds later, a secondary blast lit up the rear deck. Black smoke billowed out as the ship buckled, burned, and began to break in two. Ukrainian Navy drones captured every moment. The footage was posted the same morning. A short video viewed by millions. A smoking hull, twisted metal, flames on the water. The caption was blunt. Enemy landing craft destroyed near Kherson. But this wasn't just another drone strike. This hit tells us three things. How Ukraine now dominates large parts of the Black Sea without surface ships. How vulnerable Russian vessels have become. And why Russia's old naval playbook no longer works. The exact moment of detection is still classified. But what we do know is this. The Magura V5 had already locked onto the Russian vessel long before impact. It wasn't reacting. It was waiting, lurking just outside visual range, hidden by sea clutter and the horizon, cruising at high speed and hugging the waterline. The approach was deliberate. The drone used a low-profile hull and composite materials to stay invisible to radar. Its onboard navigation adjusted course constantly based on satellite feedback and passive sensors. No active emissions, no chance of early warning. By the time it was within 2 kilometers, it had shifted from stealth mode to final run. Observers say that the drone closed in at around 70 knots. That's over 130 kilometers an hour. At that speed, it can cover the last mile in less than 30 seconds. Video from a Ukrainian drone circling overhead captured the entire sequence. The landing craft continues forward unaware. The Magura appears only for a split second before impact. Then flash, explosion, chaos. The strike hit low, slightly out of center. That position matters. It's where troop compartments often sit. If there were soldiers on board, they wouldn't have stood a chance. The detonation created a pressure wave that tore through the hull plating. Secondary explosions, likely from onboard munitions or fuel, amplified the destruction. Within moments, flames spread across the deck. You can see life rings and debris scattered across the water as the vessel starts listing hard to port. And then it just stops moving. No counterfire, no distress flares, just black smoke curling upwards into the morning air. Ukrainian operators confirmed the kill minutes later through encrypted comms. The Magura drone, as expected, was lost in the blast, and that's the point. It's a one-way mission, and it delivered. Vice Admiral Alexei Nishpapa, commander of the Ukrainian Navy, made the strike public later that day with a short but clear message. We destroyed another Black Sea Fleet landing craft moving along the western shore of the Kherson region. I thank our naval sailors for a job well done together to victory. It wasn't just a tactical win. It was a signal. This wasn't the first Russian vessel hit by a sea drone, but it was the cleanest. And Russia had no idea it was coming. This wasn't a cruiser or a guided missile frigate. It was a landing craft, smaller, lighter, but still dangerous. These vessels are designed to move troops, armored vehicles, and gear quickly from ship to shore. In theory, they don't need to fight. They're the muscle behind the front line. But in the wrong place at the wrong time, they become easy prey. Unlike warships with radar, jammers, or close-in defense weapons, this landing craft likely had no way to stop what was coming. No sea whiz, no counter-drone interceptors, not even a proper lookout. When the Magura V5 struck, it didn't just destroy a boat, it disrupted a mission. If troops were on board, they never reached their destination. If it was carrying supplies or mobile gear, that cargo is now on the seabed or burning with the wreckage. And one more thing, every Russian unit in the area saw the smoke column. And that right there is the kind of message that doesn't need translation. The Magura V5 isn't just a piece of tech. It's the reason Ukraine doesn't need big warships to win sea battles. Think of it like a waterborne cruise missile, roughly the size of a small speedboat. It schemes just above the surface using a low-visibility hull and stealth shaping. There's no one on board, no cockpit, just electronics, sensors and a warhead. And once it's launched, it's silent, fast, and extremely hard to stop. And the specs are no joke either. The range is up to 800 kilometers, a top speed of 70+ knots, a payload around 320 kilograms of explosives. Guidance is a mix of GPS, inertial systems, and live video feed. And communications are encrypted satellite uplink or a pre-programmed autonomous mode. It's also modular. That means that the warhead can be swapped, the sensors upgraded, and the software adjusted to fit different missions from scouting to direct strikes. In some cases, drones like this are even configured with decoys or jammers to confuse enemy systems. But what makes the Magura V5 especially deadly is how it approaches. It doesn't fly, that means no radar cross-section in the air, no signature overhead. It blends into wave clutter. From a distance, it looks like a piece of driftwood on thermocams until it's too close to stop. Russian ships built for open-sea combat weren't designed to spot low-profile targets coming from sea level. Their radars sweep high. Their weapons aim higher. The Magura V5 uses that blind spot to get close, and it doesn't need to survive. It just needs to detonate. And it does not breed alone either. Ukraine has refined tactics where multiple drones, sometimes air and sea, work together. One distracts, another finishes. The V5 is often part of that swarm. It's fast, cheap, and brutally effective. Built in secret workshops, controlled from hidden bases, launched from ports, or even civilian trucks. It's everything a conventional navy hates. Unpredictable, hard to trace, and damn near impossible to stop once it's on the move. And in this case, the Magura didn't just hit a ship. It proved once again that drones now rule these waters. Behind the joystick, or more accurately, the encrypted laptop, was Ukraine's 385th Unmanned Surface Vehicle Brigade. You probably haven't even heard of them, and that's the point. This is the world's first naval unit made entirely of drone operators. No sailors, no ships, no sonar rooms, just a network of engineers, technicians, and remote pilots working from bunkers and command centers across Ukraine. They don't need to sail into danger. They send their machines in their place. Formed quietly under Ukraine's Defense Intelligence Directorate or the HUR, the brigade began operations in late 2023, but stayed off the radar both literally and politically. As sea drone warfare ramped up in 2024, this unit became the tip of the spear. And by mid-2025, they weren't just experimental, they were decisive. Each strike mission they launch involves more than just a drone and a target. Teams coordinate satellite reconnaissance, weather models, naval radar blind spots, and Russian communication patterns. Everything is planned right down to the meter. That's 3 feet. The Magura V5 that hit the Russian landing craft, it wasn't just launched. It was positioned, guided, and fine-tuned in real time by operators trained for digital warfare on the water. These aren't your average sailors. Some of them are coders. Others are drone racers turned defense contractors. Many come from Ukraine's growing tech military crossover scene. Think less navy blues, more hoodies and keyboards, but with deadly precision. And their impact is growing. Every Russian ship that moves along the southern coastline now has to ask, is the 385th watching? Because if they are, there might already be a Magura on the way. Invisible, silent, and seconds from impact. This wasn't just a tactical win. It was part of a bigger deliberate strategy. Ukraine isn't just trying to damage Russian ships. It's trying to rewrite naval warfare in the Black Sea, and it's working. Since early 2024, Ukraine has launched hundreds of unmanned surface and aerial drone strikes across Crimea, Sevastopol, and occupied coastal zones. The Magura V5 isn't the only tool in play, but it's become the symbol of a new kind of dominance, one that doesn't rely on frigates or submarines, but with speed, stealth, and software. And the numbers back it up. Between January and May 2025 alone, Ukrainian sea drone strikes caused over 10 billion with AB in confirmed damage to Russian naval assets. That includes several Raptor-class patrol boats, the intelligence ship Ivan Kur, and the Caesar Kunikov, a major landing ship blown apart off Crimea's coast. This latest kill near Kherson sends a clear signal. No part of the Black Sea is safe for Russian ships, not even the shallow zones they once considered secure. There's a psychological impact here, too. Russian forces can no longer just operate predictably along the southern front. Resupply routes are under constant threat. Even moving a dozen troops by water now carries a real risk. That forces Russia to rely more on land convoys, which are slower, more vulnerable to air attacks, and easier to intercept. And it's affecting morale. In July 2025, Russia officially scaled down its Navy Day celebrations in St. Petersburg, citing security concerns. But the truth is obvious. A country doesn't cancel a major military holiday unless it knows it can't protect its own coast. This isn't just about Kherson. It's about redefining who controls the water. Ukraine's drone fleet has turned a defensive posture into an offensive dominance. With no navy to match Russia ship for ship, it simply built a new kind of navy. When they cost less, hits faster, and vanishes after the job is done. The old naval doctrines, hulls, tonnage, and firepower don't apply anymore. The only question that Russia can ask now is, what do we do when the enemy doesn't need ships to sink ours? The wreckage still smokes. Russian units near Kherson are likely rewriting their transport plans as we speak. And somewhere inside a concrete bunker, another Mura is being prepped for launch. This won't be the last hit. Ukraine's drone operators now have a proven system, and they're getting bolder with every success. There's talk of larger payloads, smarter AI routing, even Dronito drone coordination. The ocean doesn't belong to the biggest ship anymore. It belongs to the fastest brain. The message to Moscow is simple. You can't guard every wave. And here's where it gets interesting. Will Ukraine keep targeting small support vessels like this one, chipping away at Russia's logistics, or will they go big and hunt major surface combatants again? What do you think is the smarter play? Keep striking soft targets and bleed the fleet slowly, or risk it all for high-value, high-profile kills? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear how you would play this war if you were. Calling the shots from the drone command room. And if you made it this far into the OP, thanks for watching. You clearly don't just scroll past the headlines, you go deep. If you want to go a step further and support the channel directly, please join the fleet. You get loyalty badges, priority responses, and help us bring more true maritime stories to the surface. Click join on our channel page and get on board. Because whether it's a billion-dollar frigate or a drone the size of a kayak, there's always more happening beneath the surface.